Welcome, Matt. Thank you for joining into the Flawless Growth podcast. For those who may not know you, how do you usually introduce yourself?
Well, Mr. Happy Living is the handle that I go by.
Love it.
But I'm a businessman, a father, a husband. I love creating things that didn't exist before,
Mhm.
and so that's what I've been doing with my work at Happy Living for the last. It's been almost I guess it's on 11 years now.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
amazing. I've been in my business for 3.5 years now.
Okay.
So
Very
slowly
good.
but surely. Okay. Can you walk us through your professional journey and what led you to where you're at today?
Oh goodness. Um, well, it's been a long road. I'm 64 years old, so I've done quite a few things. But
Uh-huh.
I'll just give you some highlights that kind of led to where I am today. As a kid, I was an athlete,
Okay.
loved sports, and ended up settling on in college. I played football, and I also pole vaulted, which was really, really fun. I wasn't that good, but I was good enough to get to college and pole vault for a couple of years. But football was my real thing. And after college, I signed three different professional football contracts
Wow.
with the USFL, with the NFL, and also with the Canadian Football League over the course of 2 years. And I really, really wanted to play professional football so bad, but I got cut. I got cut from all those teams before we actually got to our first game. The
No.
worst situation was getting cut on a Thursday before our the before the Raiders, the Los Angeles Raiders, who I was with, was playing against my hometown San Francisco 49ers. Thursday morning, I got cut. We played on Saturday, so it was horrible.
Oh, I'm
But
sorry.
but that was my athletic career was really important because it taught me how to really work hard. It taught me how to dream big. And when I got out of when I after 2 years of trying to play, and I was went back to finish up my education. I was majoring in economics, and I decided I was going to be a businessman,
Mm-hmm.
business guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started down that path, and I worked in several businesses as an employee. Um, as a retail store buyer, which was a great job. I learned so much. It's almost like running your own business inside a larger business. So I
Uh-huh.
learned how to buy and to sell and to advertise, all kinds of business stuff. Had a great mentor, and then I left from that industry of retail hardware stores, and I went into a little niche industry called accounts payable recovery auditing, and that's when I really started learning about how to manage large quantities of company data. And to make a long story short, what we did was we looked for our clients. Maybe it was Home Depot or Amazon or
Mm-hmm.
large retailers that bought they bought merchandise on promotion
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to have a Fourth of July sale, and so they bought the Nike shoes at a 5% or $5 discount so they could promote them. And what we did is after all the business was done, we went back a year later and we looked for any types of overpayments where we might have supposed to take a $5 discount and we didn't, or
Oh,
we or
okay.
we or we or we should have got a discount, a discount large order, or all kinds of different rules that the buyer that our clients intended to happen,
Uh-huh.
but when they paid the invoice, it didn't happen. So it's
Interesting.
really like treasure hunting. It was
Yeah.
so fun. But the big thing there was it really taught me and the team I was working with how to manage enormous quantities of data
Uh-huh.
and use that data to deliver what our client wanted delivered. In this case, not overpaying the bills. Just
Exactly.
for the audience, the error rate that we found was only 0.1%, which means that our clients
Uh-huh.
paid 99.9% perfectly.
Okay,
But
good.
if our client was $1 billion corporation and
Mm-hmm.
we found 0.1%, that was $1 million. And when we found that $1 million, we kept half of it and we gave half of it back to them. And so
Oh, nice.
it was a great business. And then I went from there to it's a long story, but I'll get there quickly, into the international trade customs compliance business. We bought a company, and then I launched a startup that was synergetic with that company. And then we grew. That was also a data management business. We took all the rules and regulations that every country around the world has in order to buy or sell products into and out of their country. Mm-hmm. Tariffs is very common and big in the news these days. So we basically helped our clients navigate the international trade world of tariffs and rules and regulations by digitizing the paper-based rules that described everything, put them into computer systems that could be their purchasing systems. And then we also created another set of software that helped them manage their data that they bought and sold, so that they not only knew that they had Nike shoes and they had Nike shoes in all these sizes and they had them for men and for women, but this was the tariff code for all those. This was the duty rates if you sold them to Honduras, and this is the duty rate if you sold them to Turkey. This is the duty rate if you sold them to Canada. Wow. All of that information we matched up with their item information and just created massive databases that were able to work together so that our clients could buy and sell products and stay in compliance.
Oh, wow.
And so that was also about a 10-year stint for me. And then when we sold that company, I started Happy Living. And Happy Living is what I'm doing these days. And it was basically really to say, look, Matt, I've done a lot of work, had a lot of good work for it. I've helped large multinational corporations make more money. That's good, I guess, if you want to, for a job and for a career. But I don't think I'd put that on my gravestone. When I die, Matt helped companies make lots of money. So I thought, what if I could use the talents that I had in my businesses was working with a group of people and distilling best practices, not that I was smart enough to come up with, but that they were using.
Okay.
And then take those best practices, put them in software, and help them do their jobs. So they basically created the intellectual property. We put it in a nice fitting software, and then we gave it back to them. And I thought, wow, I wonder if I could do that for living a healthy, happy life. Okay. And so that's what Happy Living's about. And instead of software, we're using blog posts and podcasts and websites to show people how we're living and how our friends are living well, and my guests on the podcast are living well, so that maybe somebody listening can get a glimmer of something that can change their life a little bit and help them become healthier and happier.
I love what you do because I am very, very into self-improvement and changing mindset and being more positive. And I feel that has really changed my life a lot. Just following people like that, maybe that they teach me things that maybe my family couldn't because they didn't know. And just like the power of internet to be able to hear the best of the best. And that's why we're all, if you're into it and if you're really focused on that self-improvement, you can do it wherever, however, for free. So amazing. Good for you. I love it. Yeah. So talking about that and about your mindset, is there any key moments that have shaped your mindset around growth and success?
Well, I guess, in all the different transitions, transitions are difficult. They're hard to make because you're stepping into something that you don't know about.
Totally.
And so in going from football to retail, I didn't have a choice. I got cut. They took that from me. And going from retail to the auditing business, that was a choice. A family member invited me in, and so we moved across the country, and and from California to Kansas, changed industries, went into something I knew absolutely about, and I learned, and I learned. And so we went from then, while I was in Kansas City, I was in the auditing business, but I went from being one of the auditors in the field to joining corporate headquarters, and we went down to Dallas, Texas, and we lived there for a while. So all of these changes, where you live, who you're working with, what you're doing, what I learned is I couldn't determine how things were going to be, but I learned to gain confidence that we're going to work through it and come out the other side in a good place. And probably the most important thing that I've learned is that place that we're going to land, that I'm going to land in my particular job or work, is going to be different than I can know now. And it's always been different. The auditing company I went to work for when I got the corporate gig down in Dallas, I would have sworn to you that would be the last job I would ever have. Because I loved the company, I was close with the owner, it was a great business, and then all of a sudden that company gets sold and bought by somebody else, and your whole life gets shaken up, and off you go. And as I look back at it, and this is what I would convey to the audience, as I look back at it, all those transitions, all those stepping into the unknown, going across the country, California, Kansas, Texas, Colorado, Arizona, and then North Carolina. All those have been all moves that I've made physically with my family.
Wow.
And all of them have created enormous stress. You know, when you change, it's stressful.
Yeah.
But it's led to a very a lot of experience in my life and confidence that I can do things that I don't know about based on working hard, based on having experiences, and based on just being really respectful. If you want to make a change in your life, if you're listening to this and you say, you know what, my life isn't as good as it needs to be, I'm going to make a change, and you really respect that change, what does that mean? Work hard, keep it front of mind, don't give up when it gets hard. These are all basic things. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
But you work through the issues, and when you do that, you're in the top 1%. Many people, they don't work through the issues. They run into a brick wall and they stop.
100%.
And they said, nothing I can do.
Yep.
Well, yeah, you can go over it, you can go around it, you can go under it, you can get a hammer and start trying to break through it. There's all kinds of things you can do. You're making a choice not to do. So I guess the long answer to your question is I learned to pursue the things that were in front of me that I wanted to pursue, and not depend on them. And so I guess that's how I would answer that.
Yeah, that's what the power of adjusting and not staying. Because I'm sure, you were sad when you lost the football space, but you could have stayed there and be sad and say I failed, or you could take the situation and improve it or find something different and better and not be a victim.
That's exactly right. And have you ever heard of Reese's peanut butter cups?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Reese's peanut butter cups, my understanding of it was an accident. It was an accident in the kitchen. And the chocolate got mixed up with the peanut butter. Somebody tasted it and said, oh my gosh, this is delicious.
Yes.
And what I've discovered in my life is all those transitions, they create opportunities for, in software, it's called a mashup. When you take the software and you mash them together and create something new that didn't exist before.
Exactly.
Somebody comes up with the idea of asset sharing with homes, VRBO, everybody's familiar with VRBO. Somebody came up with that. Okay, that was a new concept. And somebody said, oh, I can take that concept and I can apply it to cars or to food delivery. And so when you have different experiences, you see the world in a different way because you've been chocolate and you've been peanut butter, and now you know that, oh, I can do something in this new opportunity that other people haven't seen before because my experience is unique. Exactly. And that's how all my stuff kind of blended together. football gave me a toughness that,
Yeah.
uh, how's somebody in business going to hurt me? I've gone up against some real rough guys in football, and I know it's not going to hurt that bad in
Right.
business. So you just learn things, and it gives you an ability to see the world through your own lens of unique experiences, and create something new from that. And so that's what I've learned is now when I'm in some unknown thing, I say, okay, this is great. I'll give you one last thing. I've had a lot of business experience where I was managing large quantities of data. Well, just recently, I got matched up with a gentleman that's opening up a big 40,000 square foot museum in Pittsburgh, Texas.
Wow.
That museum is fine arts. It's so beautiful. You will not believe this museum, Maria. Fine arts, some of the greatest artwork in the world. He was a lawyer, a Texas lawyer for 50 years. So he's got a law museum.
Okay.
And he's got a car museum that I don't think it's a J level. Maybe I shouldn't say that because Harry wouldn't like it, but it's unbelievable. He's got a complete replication of a 1950s version Texaco gas station.
Oh, wow.
It's unbelievable. And so I was working with Harry, and he was telling me about giving somebody a tour. The museum's not open yet. He was talking about giving somebody a tour. And I said, Harry, how long does the tour take you? 3 hours. And I said, well, you can't be doing tours manually for the rest of your life. Once this thing opens, you'll be exhausted.
Yeah, totally.
And plus, you're too limited. Yeah. And so one of the things that I learned in my business is create information once. Create information once and use it over and over again. You see me all right?
I see you, but like to the side.
Yeah, my phone just rang. It disconnected us here in the kitchen.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. So you can't do that. We have to figure out a way that we can. When he does a tour, he's saying the same things in the same rooms over and over again. You go to a museum, the docent will walk you through, and basically they're saying the same story in different ways. So we said, let's capture that story and let's put it in some software. And so we're creating audio tours for his museum. And I started thinking about it. Well, we can create audio tours and in a way that hasn't been done before, utilizing some of the experience that I've had in weird businesses, auditing, international trade, and now with I'm learning how to do websites and all that stuff. So all this stuff put together. And so I just went online the other day and I bought museumaudiotours.com. And Harry and I are working together to launch a brand new business.
Wow.
Creating customized audio tours based on the voice of the. Go to the room, Harry's going to tell you what this room's about. But then he's also going to have a friend of his who's an artist. The first guy's name is Andrew Bone. He's one of the world-renowned artists in Africa for painting African wildlife.
Okay.
The big animal. He lives out in the bush with them, and he paints these massive elephants and lions and tigers, and incredible. Yeah. So we're going to include Andrew. Harry's going to tell you about the African room and his experience, but he's also going to then invite an artist to talk to you also.
Oh,
so
nice.
You'll be in room 1 and you'll listen to Harry and Andrew, and you go into room 2, the Orient Express. It's a bunch of Oriental art. There'll be another story from the museum telling you about things, and then a guest artist. And so this is another one of those peanut butter and chocolate mashups that I could have never in 1,000 years thought I'd be involved in doing museum audio tours. But that's what happens when you engage in life.
Very original.
I'm sorry, my phone's ringing again.
No worries. Super original.
Let's see if I can. There we go.
Okay, there you go. Because in all of the museums, there's always that same voice in those audio things, and it's not like, maybe it would be also very cool if they talk with your energy or something like that, so it makes you upbeat.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what's happening. Harry loves this stuff.
Yep.
He can walk you through, and this guy, he's hung every single piece of art himself.
Oh, wow.
He loves this museum, and if he gives you a personal tour, you feel it. Well, now he's putting that same energy into, and listen to this, Maria, where he's writing the script. So here's the audio for room 1.
Uh-huh.
Then when I was working with AI, because I've been working with AI a little bit, I call my AI, I call him Al. AI, he's my assistant, Al.
Okay.
And Al said as I was working with him, Al said, hey, what if one of your museum goers has a hearing issue? Why don't we create a text? So you can be in room 1, you can push audio and listen, but then you can also push the next button and you can see the script.
Oh, love it.
And you can read it. Yeah.
Awesome.
And so what we're doing is saying, okay, how can we bring the museum to life for the guest? And you're going to be able to see it. You're going to be listening to it on your phone. You're going to be able to control everything with your phone. It's basically, and then when you leave, you'll have all that memory. But you could go home and you could show your friends. Here's some of the pictures, because we're having 3 pictures for each room.
Okay.
And the script will be there. So you could say, who was that guy I learned about in the African room? Oh, let me look it up. Oh, it's Andrew Bone. And you see it right there. And then you can look up Andrew online on the web.
Yeah.
And it is deep, rich experience there's no way I could have ever come up with it had I not gone through these unique phases of my life, and happened to meet a guy named Harry down in Pittsburgh, Texas. And also, I guess the last part of it is trying to help. We're trying to come up with a solution. How's Harry going to scale this big museum? And I wasn't thinking about how can I make a profit about it. I just wanted to help my friend.
Right. Exactly.
And now we think we might have something. I'm really, really excited about it.
You can tell. I love it.
If we're calling it MATS, 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 Museum Audio Tours.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And it's like not reinventing the wheel, but just giving it a unique touch.
Yeah, and here's something I'd share with you and your audience too. So people, this has already come up. Well, Matt, it's already been done. You're going to have lots of competition. There's been audio tours forever. Yeah. Okay, that's true. But by that line of thinking, nobody would ever again open up a restaurant. Why would you? There's restaurants everywhere. Why would you open one? Because you have something unique. You'd never, go into the singer-songwriting business. There are already singing songs. You can't become a singer. There's competition. And so, of course, there's competition. But I think the thing is, it's when you tap into something like in this museum audio tour. I didn't plan this, but I'm waking up in the morning. I'm having a hard time sleeping because I'm thinking of different new ideas. That's when you know you're onto something.
Exactly.
And so when you get excited about something, double down on that. Try to figure out how can you take it to the next level and keep building and building and building until you bring it to your life. And, it'll take you to lots of crazy places, but man, you'll have a blast.
You'll have a blast. I totally agreed. Okay, since you started your entrepreneurial journey, what do you think that has been the toughest? Because you used to work before for companies. So what was that change like? What was the hardest thing?
Well, it's the hardest thing is, if you're, here's the thing. People think, okay, I'm going to become an entrepreneur and then I'll be my own boss.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes.
Kind of. Except in my case, I was my own boss when we started our trade company, but I had shareholders, I had customers, I had employees, I had industry, all these people that if I'm going to be successful, I have to answer to them.
Yeah.
So ultimately, if you're an entrepreneur, your number one boss is your customer. And one bit of advice that I heard from another entrepreneur was, how do you have success in business? Find a customer, make them happy, and do it again. And so really you are serving your own boss, but you're serving the people, the stakeholders in your business. And the hardest thing is if they don't like what you're doing, you don't get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of employees even when their bosses don't like what they're doing, ultimately you can get fired.
Yeah.
But
Correct.
a lot of people are not, really making the boss happy, and they're still getting paid.
100%. That happens a lot.
And maybe, Maria, it's a false sense of security when you're an employee, because you think, well, I'm gonna, like I did with my auditing business. I thought I'd be there forever, and I really thought that'd be the last place I'd work. And all of a sudden, company gets sold. So
yeah, totally.
And the hardest thing is the insecurity for me. I think that's what people deal with the most. But it's really not that different than working for a large corporation, because they can get bought, they can get sold, they can get downsized, and all that too.
Totally.
But I would say that's it. It's the insecurity of the next paycheck. And I can tell you, I read a whole book on this called "Turning Inspiration into Action." The fear stops so many people from chasing their dreams.
Yep.
And if you let it stop you, you'll never reach your dreams. And what I've proved to myself, as I haven't been stopped, as I've walked through those, I call the land of unknown opportunities. It didn't work out the way I wanted ever, but it was very exciting. It was very, I have more control in my life, because you can, if you're an employee, if you're an entrepreneur, and you're not getting the money you need, you can work twice as hard.
Yeah.
You can change. You can change the situation. You can move. You can physically move. That's what I think limits so many people with their income. Oh, there's no work around here. Well, move. Go to a different state where there is work.
Yep.
Or go, if you're an entrepreneur, go where your customers are. Move. You're not, your feet are not locked to the ground. You can go where the opportunities are.
That's 100%
And so the hardest thing is the uncertainty. But that's also the biggest power, because there's no constraint.
I moved. I am originally from Colombia, and I moved to the States. And of course, my career has improved a lot since I moved.
Yeah. It's and immigration. That is a real big, courageous move.
It is,
because it also involves culture.
Yes.
It involves all kinds of different things. Where a move from state to state also takes courage,
right?
But a little less courage. And a lot of people stay where they are because they're afraid of what they might encounter. But I won't remember this exactly right, but it was in the Declaration of Independence. And those guys, 250 years ago, those guys said that human beings, they were talking about Americans, people are more inclined to just stay as they are rather than risk changing, as long as their situation is bearable, as long as they can stand it. They would rather, live in an abusive or poor paying job, as long as they can just get by, than to change their circumstances. And man, that is no way to live.
I know. It's very scary to change. It's very scary. I wish. And another thing is that most of the time we tell ourselves no before other people even told us no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I call it in my book, I call those, the book's called Turning Inspiration to Action. The idea is it's easy to get inspired. But it's really hard to take action. And the reason is inspiration, if somebody is listening to this and they say, okay, fine, Maria and Matt, you finally convinced me, I'm gonna take the entrepreneurial leap. Okay, that's great. You were inspired by this episode. That's great. That's not a very powerful force. And the forces of gravity, that's what I call them, that hold your life in place, are stronger than just that little whiff of inspiration. So you gotta build on that power, and you do it by tapping into the power of priority, by tapping into the mama bear power, I call it, the power of the heart. Why were you inspired? What is it about being your own boss that you want? And you start to build a story around that, and you put strength into that inspiration, and that inspiration then becomes more powerful than the gravity. Procrastination, self-doubt, all the things in your head that starts bubbling up. Well, you can't do this and that because no one in our family's ever done it before, because you haven't been educated properly, or because blah, 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 blah. Doesn't make any difference. That's all nonsense. And you've got to gain the strength to push through, to overcome that gravity, which is real. It's a real force that prevents people from changing. But I'm telling you, and you know also, you can change. You can find the power. The mama bear power is an amazing thing. It's documented when human beings are scared out of their wits, they have extra power. Well, that power is not extra. We just don't know how to call on it. We just don't know how to call on it. Right. And so aligning what you do with your purpose, with your heart, with your reason, that gives you that power. And then it seems like you're more powerful than you really are, but you're not. You're just tapping into all of you or more of you.
Exactly. And there's two phrases that I like a lot. One is, don't believe everything you think. And the other one is, confidence comes from taking action.
Yes, those are great. I'll give you one more. I love this. Other people's opinion of you is none of your business.
Yep, 100%. And you can't control it, period. So
correct.
Why does it matter?
Correct. Exactly right.
Okay, you've mentioned, so you're doing like different ventures, multiple things. How do you focus doing different things? How do you do that? How do you work on that?
Well, that's an interesting question because I used to be really, really structured.
Okay.
And I've written a blog post called Coffee, Classical, and Priorities. Every Monday I would get up and I'd have my coffee and I would look at what I did last week and I'd spend an hour just planning out my week and make sure I was perfectly aligned with what I need to do and all that. And through my business, before Happy Living, when I was working in what people would consider real business, I was very structured, would never ever miss a meeting. I mean, there's no way. And now with Happy Living, it's much more of a creative process. I'm a lot less structured. And sometimes I miss meetings. I had to set my alarm today to make sure that I didn't miss this because I go down, I start thinking about mats and my new museum audio tours, and all of a sudden I'd be, oh shoot, there's more.
Hello? I lost you.
Did we lock up?
Okay, I see you and hear you again. Now? There you go. Good.
Okay. Anyway, so now I'm using my reflection time and what are the things I need to accomplish in the coming days and weeks, and then I'm using technology to remind me so I don't get when you're doing work you love, you get lost in what they call the flow, right? And so if you get into the flow, you lose the sense of time and all that. And that's a great place to be. So you don't want to restrict that, but at the same time, you have to be respectful. And if you say you're going to be somewhere at 2:30 Central Time, I need to be there so I can speak to you. So I think I'm using a lot of technology these days. And the other thing I would say is I've been aligning my life for a long time with the things that are most important to me. And if something's really important to you, you make time for it.
Yeah, you have the time.
It's that simple. And the flip side is, and I've been pretty good on that too, is stop doing things or hanging out with people or going to places that make you feel bad. Just stop doing it. It's not worth it. And so I don't do very much in my life that I don't want to do. There are certain things that I have to do still, and of course you have to be responsible.
Yeah.
But if you start to align your life around those things that really light you up, you won't miss things that are important because they're really important to you.
Sometimes we don't let go of the thing that is biting us for whatever reason.
100%. And we just get used to it. And there's also a fear of getting rid of it.
Yes,
and I would tell your audience, this is one of the biggest things that I've learned in my life is you have to get rid of things that are no longer serving you. And I would be brutal, even if you. I use this example. I love my mother. We have a great relationship. But man, if every time I go to my mom's house and I visit, I go over there with these great intentions. We're not going to fight this time. It's going to be great. I'm going to be relaxed. And then by the time I leave there, I feel like I'm about 2 feet tall and I've just been criticized and I feel horrible. No, I'm an adult.
Yeah.
I don't have to feel that way for anybody. So I need to be strong enough to say, you know what, Mom, I love you, but I can't be around you when you make me feel this way.
Yeah.
And that's on me.
Yeah.
That's on me because I'm the one that's feeling that way. It's not on you. And I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna take a time out, or maybe I'm never gonna see you again. But I love you, but I'm not gonna be with people or things or in places that make me feel bad if I have a voice in that. Sometimes you have to do those things.
Correct.
But if you have to do something that you really, really don't like, you got to start strategizing. How can you get rid of it? How can you unwind it? How can you get out of it?
Exactly.
And at some point, most things, if you're really focused on it, bringing things that you love into your life and focused on getting rid of things that not only you don't like, but just are no longer serving you. Maybe it was serving you, but now it's no longer serving you. So get rid of it. Yeah. And one way that helped me with the getting rid of, if I get rid of something that's no longer serving me, but it still may have value, now I can it can get out there and circulate and help somebody else instead of being stuck in my garage. And my garage is so full I can't even use it. I park my car out in the driveway. No, park your car in your garage and get rid of things that you don't need. Yes. That's how you live your life.
I agree. Oh my God, you see it so much.
Yeah. Maria, I'm living in a 24-foot Sprinter van right now. I've been doing this for almost 2.5 years. Lots of fun. And I forget where I was just a day or two ago. No, maybe it was this morning. I was walking my dog around the block. I have to find places where there's lawn so the dog can pee and do her business. And I saw this car. It was a nice car. I think it was a Mazda or something like that. Probably, only 4 or 5 years old. Not a most expensive car in the world, but not a wrecker, and a really nice car. And it was so filled with stuff that somebody had put in there that I don't know if they're living in there or what. But that's an example. If you're living that way in any aspect of your life, it creates stress.
Yeah.
When your garage is clean, you go out and you say, "Oh, this garage makes me feel great. Like the car's fit, everything's great." If it doesn't, if your life is cluttered with things that aren't serving you, that creates a stress that pulls you down and it prevents you from doing things. And then you put more stuff in your garage and you create more stress, and it just gets worse and worse and worse until it seems completely overwhelming. And the thing happens also in the other direction. If you start getting rid of things that you don't need and you start bringing in more and more things that you love, then all of a sudden you start doing more things you love and you meet new people and they're doing things that they love and it gets better and better and better. So that's the two choices. And the critical component in that direction, up or down, is you, the person, being responsible for deciding what serves you, what doesn't serve you. What do you want out of life? What do you not want out of life? Making choices and building your life around those choices and taking action. And when you take the action, you might say, I'm going to go clean my garage up. And you go out there and you start cleaning the garage. And you notice that, oh my goodness, this wall that I'm looking at that's had crap piled on it for years and years and years. It's all rotted out, termites. So now that job of cleaning up your garage just turned into a remodel of your whole house. And you say, oh, this is awful. I didn't know that before and I didn't feel the stress of it, but now I do. But even when you encounter those things, you're working in a positive direction. And that makes all the difference in the world. You're either going positive and you feel better, or you're going negative and you feel worse. And you can't overcome those two feelings. You're either one or the other, if you're honest with yourself. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and another analogy here is that the garage has a purpose. So make sure that things are serving their purpose and work towards that.
Yes. The most important thing doing its purpose is you,
Yeah.
the person.
Correct.
And we all have a purpose.
Yeah.
We all have a purpose. And when you find it, oh man, it is spectacular.
Exactly. Love it. Okay, now as you know that I have an agency, we're gonna touch a little bit on digital marketing topics. So, have you used digital marketing for any of your ventures?
Well, so when you say digital marketing, are you talking about social media
Yeah, like social
and
media, paid ads.
yeah,
Um,
I don't do much paid stuff. I do a
okay,
lot of you know, I do a lot of work with social media, writing blog
blog
posts.
posts.
We have a podcast. We have four or 500 blog posts, so that's a lot of
Yeah.
information that
Uh-huh.
is what I call in the can now, and I can use it over and over and over again, and I do. So when I'm
Uh-huh.
talking with people on Facebook or on LinkedIn, and something comes up, I say, "Oh, that reminds me of my philosophy of lifelong work," and I can go look up that 400-word article, and I can share that.
Uh-huh.
So I do a lot of type of stuff. What I've been doing late is really getting into and working very closely with my assistant Al, that is ChatGPT. ChatGPT, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm in talking with him every single day,
Yeah. Good.
and I'm learning new ways of leveraging that technology. I'll just give you an example. Yesterday, I was talking to the lady. Her name is Libby Greer, who's an executive producer for my podcast.
Okay.
And I said, "Hey, Libby, do you know any museums? Because I'm doing this museum thing." And she said, "No, I don't really know any." And so, anyway, we're talking back and forth. And the next thing I know, she was late to the meeting because her and I were talking. She goes to her next meeting, and she tells the guy why she's late. Her crazy friend started this museum audio tour business, and the guy says to her, "You got to be kidding me! My sister just inherited a museum in South Carolina."
Oh my goodness.
So my friend Libby texts me, and she says, "Here, her brother says here's her information." And so all I have is a text and her contact information. And I thought, okay, what am I going to do? And I was working with Al on doing some outreach for and some social some prospecting communication, making funnels for starting to market the business. And so we were already in that subject area. And so I just sent to Al. I took a picture of the text with Libby's comments and with the address. And I said, "Hey Al, can you write an email to this lady, introducing her to our demo and our ROI calculator, and see if I can reach out to her." And so I'm doing a lot of that where I can get a lot more work done by leveraging this tool called AI.
Yeah.
And really learning how questions that you can ask it. I didn't know. Again, chocolate and peanut butter. The other day I didn't know I could. I would go to a Word document, I'd copy and paste things in Al. And I saw, oh, what's this plus button? I can just upload the entire document.
Correct.
And I can send pictures, and I can do this, and I can do that. So it's a matter of learning the tools that are available. Particularly with digital marketing, I have just a philosophy that I'm really not doing. I'm not doing pay to play anymore. I like the idea of just bootstrapping it, and so I'm really, as a matter of principle, trying to do a lot of this stuff on my own.
Yeah.
And because I'm learning so much more.
Okay.
For example, I just let go of the help that I had. It was family, but my son, who is doing all the back end web pages and all that, I wasn't doing any of it. I just come up with the idea and say, "Hey, can you put this, make it look right and not edit it?" And so now I'm doing all that myself.
Oh,
And because I'm doing all that myself, I'm thinking differently. I'm planning differently. I could have never come up with the Matt's program without this last year and a half of having to learn how to be the word they use is a solopreneur. But it really it's served me in this latest engagement really, really well. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah.
I'm kind of half in, half out, I guess, I'm doing it on my own, digital marketing, in my own way, my own flavor.
Got it. But you used to, you said that before you used to pay to play, but that's something that you're not doing anymore, right? That's how I.
Yes, I get recruited. I get recruited so much to, hey, we can do all these videos for you. We can do this, and we can create your bit. And my general response, I saw one just the other day, and I've got an 8-week e-course that I put together called The Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life.
Mm-hmm.
And Maria, it's anybody who's ever gone through it. It really is a game changer. It really, I believe with all my heart. It's 8 weeks. It's about 3 hours of work each week, and it's a game changer. It will change your life if you go all the way through it. I believe that's so much that if you pay the money and you don't feel completely, I'll give you a full refund. But almost nobody has gone through it. 8 weeks is a pretty hard, order. It's a big ask. And so, I'll say to people, hey, you can help me get people through that course, then I'll revenue share with you. I'll do that all day long. But most people, it's no. Well, the other day I got invited to, hey, would you like to do a TED Talk? We can guarantee you're going to get a TED Talk. Yeah, I'm going to pay you fees, right? Yeah, but if you don't get a TED Talk, and so for me, I'm just going to, if a TED Talk comes to me one of these days, that's great. But I'm not going to, I've decided at this stage of my life, I'm not going to pay for that.
Got it. So that course, when you say revenue share, that means they would do kind of like the advertising, and if they get you the client, you would pay like a share out of that. That's how you got it.
Yeah.
And some people do work like that.
Some people will. I haven't had any takers yet. If you're listening, and we could do that kind of thing. Sharing on the upside is easy, and there's a lot of ways to do that. And for entrepreneurs getting into business, one of the things you have to make sure is that you've got the cash flow thing under control, and so and that's not even it for me these days. I just love the idea of figuring out how to do it by myself. And if I could be bigger, faster, and stronger, by having somebody else do it, that's okay. I don't need bigger, faster, stronger right now in my life. I can go at my pace, enjoy it, learn. And like I said, if the last time I had hired somebody to take over all the back end stuff, I wouldn't have had the experience and the knowledge to do this museum audio tour thing, which I'm having so much fun with.
Cool.
Anyways.
So from, you've mentioned that from the blogs, social media, which one do you think, I'm not sure if you track this, but which one do you think that brings in the most business for you? Or it's not tracked, because sometimes you don't track it and you don't know.
I don't. I started tracking, and I realized when I went from being a real corporate business guy, and we sold the international trade business, and I had launched Happy Living already. I didn't really know what it was going to be exactly, but I'd launched it, and I came up with the idea that we wanted to improve. When we started out, I was improve the health and wellness of the world. And I thought, okay, that's exactly like my regular type A old career, being the biggest and the strongest. And we're going to have 1 million followers and all this stuff. And I thought, that's a trap that I was in before. That's based on my ego and not my heart. And I started thinking, okay, you're 54, I was 53 at the time. I said, I was sitting on my back porch. We have a little lake house in North Carolina overlooking the lake. And I said, Matt, if you could just change improve the life of one person in the next 20 or 30 or 40 years of happy living, that should be enough. Maybe it's my mom, maybe it's my son, maybe it's one of my daughters, maybe it's a friend. But why isn't that enough? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Really helping somebody live a happier life. So we added comma, improve the health and wellness of the world, comma, one person at a time. And so that's where I am at this stage of my life, is I would rather go deeper and engage more and really make a change with somebody than have lots of followers. And so then when I started tracking all that stuff, and at some point I just said, "This spending time trying to see if this post got 100 or reads or 1,000. Who cares? I should be spending time on the next post to help somebody." And so I really took my eyes off of the measuring and put it on the content creation, and more than that, on the connection. And that for me, it was a nice release, and I think I got happier as soon as I did that.
Good. And so, okay, yeah, it's 100% truth, but there's also the realities of running a business, of course. So at the same time, thankfully, it's working for you, right? Like without tracking all of that, it's working.
Yes, so I have a unique situation that it's not that I don't need the money. The more money you have, the more good things you can do and all that. So I want it to be financially viable.
Yeah.
But I also, when I sold my business, I make money on investments. I make money on. Today, I just sold off a pretty significant chunk of my crypto. Because the market's way up right now.
Okay, cool.
And so I manage all these different aspects of my life so that I can do the things that I want to do. And that's no different than every entrepreneur.
Yeah.
We all have I have different resources now to manage, but I manage them real hard. I'm paying attention to them. I'll give this advice to anybody starting out in business. When you start out, maybe you have a pile of money. You should. You should have something for sure.
Yeah.
But what I was about to say is, get loans when you don't need them. Wow. Get financial resources. Seek all of it that you can possibly get your little grubby hands on when you don't need it. Because when you need it, you can't get it. If you go to a bank and you say, "I'm about to go out of business if you don't give me, $3,000," well, you're not going to get the money.
No.
You're about to go out of business.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to a bank and you have $30,000 in startup capital, and you say, "I want to get a line of credit against this $30,000 which I have invested in the market," then you might be able to get a $3,000 line of credit. And then when that $30,000 is gone, you'll still have that $3,000 line of credit. Or when I started out, I was opening up credit cards. I didn't need them. Every single credit card invitation that came in, I signed it. So I had like $150,000 worth of credit card credit.
Oh wow!
When I started my first business, I didn't need it, but that's the time to get it. And then that gives you a little extra cushion of confidence that, okay, I can play a little bit close to the vest. And then the other thing I would say, and this is really important, most people don't think about this, but when your business is starting to work, then, so let's say you started out with $30,000 and now you've got a business that's really thriving and you're making $100,000 a year, go to the bank and get a line of credit against that revenue. And the bank will give you a line of credit. And then you can basically take the money that's that you're using for capital. You don't need it for capital now. You can work off your line of credit. Let's just say you take $100,000, put it in the stock market or invest it wherever you want to invest it. You've got your line of credit that's $20,000 that covers your operating expenses, and you're making $20,000 a month. So the business is basically operating off the line of credit. And meanwhile, this chunk of money is invested, and you're making money on that also. So there's different ways as an entrepreneur. There's different ways to think about capital and your capital needs. But what personal human nature tends to do is we only seek it when we need it.
Exactly.
And that's when you cannot get it.
Yep.
It's impossible.
It's
one last thing on the market.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. People, when the stock market goes up, what do people do? They rush to try to invest in it.
Yeah.
It's the wrong time. The stock market's high. Yeah. Everything's expensive. When the stock market goes down and everything's bad, Trump puts on these tariffs and the market drops and everybody panics and they sell their stock. That's the wrong time. The pros don't do that. The pros buy when you sell low, and then they sell when you buy high.
Exactly.
And so it's the same way. So if you're invested in the stock market, get a line of credit against that investment. That's what I do. And if the market's down, I don't take anything out of my portfolio. I'll put it on the line of credit.
Yeah.
But when the market's high, like it is now, then I'll sell off a chunk of it, like I just did this morning with my crypto account, and take that all that money that I just sold. What I do with it? I pay down my line of credit. I don't need the money. So it's this balance between your buckets. And the most important thing is everything I've just been talking about is counterintuitive. Ask for a loan when you don't need it. Buy in the stock market when it's low. Sell in the stock market when it's high. You have to train yourself to think about these things, because an entrepreneur businesses get stopped because you get overworked, you can't handle it, you can't find customers, or you can't manage your money right. And there's probably other things too, but managing the money part is, again, you have to think about when it's going good and you don't need it, because you all of a sudden you think, man, I'm making $50,000 a month. That's great. Congratulations. Yeah. Now go use that as an asset and secure some money, because that thing might run dry for reasons you can't imagine. And when it runs dry, now you go to a bank and they say, how much money did you make last month? Nothing. That's why I'm here. Well, they're not going to help you.
Exactly. That's a very good advice. I've never thought about that. Like, I invest and I do keep some savings just in case, but I've never knew about like that line of credit or because I get so many credit card invitations and I'm just like, no. But that's a good idea. That's actually a very good idea.
It doesn't cost you anything.
No, exactly. Nice.
But,
okay. Yeah.
But you have to be disciplined.
Oh, yeah.
I don't take that.
It's not free.
The bucket of money I just took out today. If I told you how much it was, you'd say, "Oh my gosh, what'd you buy with it?" Nothing. I don't need anything. I'm gonna eat my leftover supper tonight, just like I was gonna do. Yeah. I'm taking it from this bucket and I'm putting it down in this bucket because of these circumstances. So it's a different mindset. Yeah. So if you have all the credit cards and you start spending on things that are not necessary for your business, that's going to be a horrible idea.
Yeah, totally.
But if you take on the credit cards because in case something happens and you have to have it to keep your employees on, then that's a good reason.
That's a good, yeah.
And totally. By the time you have to use that credit card, you better start thinking of other plans, because your business is starting to look is dire. So, but it's you want to have the backup, and the time to get it's when you don't need it. My point.
True. Okay. In regards of the marketing of your businesses, what has been your biggest challenge or your biggest pain point?
For me, honestly, the biggest challenge is to in my line of business, and if you're talking about health and wellness, health practitioners, coaches. But any business in that regard, you're creating something that you know in your heart is of value to other people. I'm doing that all the time. I'm discovering something. I wrote my season-ending podcast episode this year. It was something that I was just so excited and thrilled about putting in a can. It's about the five different keys that will unlock the power inside you, that power that we were talking about. And I just know if people will listen to it, will follow some of those life lessons and to tap deeper and deeper and deeper into the power within them, I know many, many, many will be affected by it. It'll be a powerful experience for them. And then after you put it in the can, you're all done. You say, "Oh man, I love it. It's perfect." 8 views, whatever. You say, "Oh, I want more people to experience it."
Yeah.
And not, I've gotten beyond in my earlier days. It would be because of reflection on me and my ego and all that. I think I'm pretty much beyond that now. It's really not for that reason, because that doesn't really matter. But I know I have something that can help people, especially, Maria, when they're the closest ones to you, family members and all that. You have something that can help them, but they won't hear it from you. So for me, that's the hardest part. I really do think that, I've been fortunate enough to stumble on lots of things that are success creating, happiness creating, that are simple. I was speaking to kids the other day at a high school, and none of the stuff I can talk about. Maybe the finance stuff is a little bit people wouldn't have thought of, but everything is out there. You can't. Nothing is new. There's not new information.
Yeah.
What it really is motivation. So I wish that I could motivate more people to believe that they can have a much bigger life than they have. And if I look at the numbers, I would say I'm not achieving the numbers that I would like to achieve. And that's the hardest part. And then what do you do with? Well, for me, it's the same thing. That's a brick wall. You just got to go right through it. You got to do the next thing. You got to keep going. And then the next thing you know, I was having these thoughts. This just happened this morning. These thoughts about, the podcast. I'm really enjoying it. I think my last season was the best ever. But still, I'm not getting the traction I want. And I just got notified we were put on the top 100 worldwide podcast for health and wellness.
Oh, wow.
And I said,
congratulations.
and I wrote to AI, I said, hey, I just got this letter. What do you think about it? He looked at it. Yeah, it looks real. And I said, well, what rank are we in? We ended up ranked 17.
Oh, wow.
And so I thought, so you never, this is the other thing I would tell your guests, that's listeners, related to this idea of you're not getting the results that you want. You never know when you've done something or said something that impacted another human being. Most of the time you don't know. Most of the time they don't tell you. And that can be something positive, and it might be 20 years later I've had this happen. I was a football coach at one point in my life, and I've met players afterwards that, coach, you don't believe when you said such and such, that changed my life completely. What do you mean it changed your life?
Yes.
You're kidding me. I didn't know that. But also negatively, when you impact someone negatively. Most of the time they don't tell you. And so that lesson was taught to me again today, that I want to get traction, all of a sudden out of the blue, I wasn't looking for it, and somebody thinks that we're getting traction. And so I think you have to believe in what you're doing. You have to do it for the right reasons. I'm doing it to help others. I'm not doing it for accolades. And so what am I looking for with the numbers and clicks and all that? I'm looking for either accolades or revenue. And revenue is tied to accolades because, in a way. And if in my case, after I did the transition from international trade to happy living, and I was reading a book called about the Tao Te Ching, called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And then I've really recently been getting into really understanding the Bible and the principles in the Bible. When you really start to take your image off of yourself and put it on others, then your life gets easier, it gets better, it gets way happier. And then whether there's 5 people that listen to the podcast or 5 million, what I'm looking for is others. And so, man, that's great. 5 people listen, that's great. I hope it in fact impacted their life. And I can go on to the next thing. So
exactly. Is your podcast on YouTube or like just on Apple Podcast?
It's on YouTube. It's WITV7, our producer. It's on our website. It's on Apple and Google, and we're on the Spotify podcast distribution. We're going to get up to 200 episodes this coming season.
Nice.
It's really good. It's called Something Significant. And it's a lot about what we've been talking about. We say ordinary people doing extraordinary things in the world because we're all ordinary people. We're all just human beings. I'll give you an example. Athletes and movie stars are big celebrities in our world, right? Make lots of money.
Yeah.
When they walk through the airport, they go, oh, you know who that is? They get all this accolades. Well, if you go back 500 years, 1,000 years, the big athletes were being killed fighting animals in the Colosseum. And the movie stars were bards that showed up to entertain the royalty, and then they had to leave so that just happens to be a matter of societal change that happened. We're all the same. We all have hopes and dreams. We all have fears. We all have special talents. Many don't find those special talents. When you find yours, you'll be like that movie star or that football player that seems that they're at the top of their game, and sometimes they are, but oftentimes what happens when their career ends, they fall apart.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So again, they have to find that next purpose.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they're going to have a life. They'll be talking about their football days for all the rest of their life because their happiness is gone. Instead of going on to the next thing and on to the next thing and on to the next thing. That's one thing I've learned with 64 years. Life, if you're lucky, it lives a long time. It takes a long time to get through it. And everything is always changing. You can't keep it the way it was. So you might as well embrace the change and look for the excitement, the next thing. Okay, how can I apply what I've learned in this long past of mine and apply it to something new? Why? Not to help me, but to help somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, then you have a good life.
100%. And what you mentioned about the issues with sometimes the views is that, well, like me being in digital marketing, I know that the platforms have changed a lot throughout the years to make it very difficult for you to grow if you're not paying to play. And it sucks because, of course, they want more money. It's harder for everybody because you were able before to grow more organically. But every time is a little bit more difficult. So they end up being monopolies, right? And you end up sometimes having to adjust to them and doing what they're pushing you to do, which sucks, but sometimes it's, I guess, just part of the game.
Yeah. So that's true. Mm-hmm. But let me put a little different twist on it. Let's just take my particular example with Happy Living. Mm-hmm. It's been 11 years. Mm-hmm. It's taught me so much. It has really helped, let's say, some people. Mm-hmm. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, I don't know what the number is, but it has my mom. It's had a really big impact on my mom in a positive way, mm-hmm. and many other people as well. Has it made money? No, not really. But now let's just suppose that the whole purpose of all this was for one day for me to meet a guy named Harry in Pittsburgh, Texas, and through right. this vehicle of Happy Living and the things that I've learned in the past that I had in data management and now with website management, and I also, my wife and I bought some art that Harry has in his museum, mm-hmm. and so as that connection, maybe all of that was to get me into the museum audio tours business. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you don't know. And what I would say is, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to tend to the P&L. You have to have the capital to live to the next day. Mm-hmm. And if that means you're paying to play, fine, pay to play.
Right.
But make sure you know what you're spending and what you're getting for it. Uh-huh. And there's a great phrase called "fail fast."
Yeah.
If it's not working, get out. Mm-hmm. and do something different. Mm-hmm. But you started the business that you started. Every business that I've started, I thought was going to be my trade business. I would have sworn also on a stack of Bibles, this is going to be a legacy business. We're never going to sell it.
Okay.
It was a revenue generator that when I could die and it could have been making money for my family mm-hmm. for decades and decades. And I envisioned, paying for kids to go, grandchildren and great grandchildren to go to school. Uh-huh. And that was the whole big dream. Yeah. Well, it didn't happen. Something changed that. It's in my book. You can read about mm-hmm. it. But so that, I guess I'd say that every path that you're on is leading to somewhere else that you don't really know where it's leading. And so even a stormy business that didn't produce the money or the results that you thought it was going to, that might have been a road that you were supposed to take to lead you to somewhere else. So I would just, keep working hard each day, trying to make the business, shape it into your vision, but also be looking around to see, what else might be there. Because that's what happens. That's what's happened in my life. One thing's led to another that I couldn't have done the other without the first. And the first, I could tell you, I was disappointed with the results at the end.
Okay.
Every single career. Got fired in football, got fired from my auditing job, trade. I was the largest shareholder in my company, but I didn't have the votes. I didn't want to sell it, but I got outvoted. And so happy living, I don't know what they can't take it from me. It's mine. But it's not doing what I intended it to do. But I didn't intend to have the podcast, and the podcast has been fantastic. So it also has evolved into something new, and it gives in a way that I didn't expect. And so that's the only caveat I would say is, even though it is about the dollars and cents, it's not all about the dollars and cents. It's also about the path that you're on and learning and growing as a human being and looking for how you can take these new skills maybe to something different that you never had imagined in your wildest dreams.
100%. Matt, where can listeners find you online?
Happyliving.com.
Happyliving.com. Perfect.
We have a happy quiz. People can take a happy quiz. It only takes about 2 minutes. It's pretty fun.
Okay.
And it's based on a book called Power versus Force. And the author said all of human consciousness can be mapped into 17 levels of consciousness. From the very bottom, where life is just unbearable shame and unimaginable horror, to level 17 is enlightenment. And you can't even imagine how. And halfway between, everybody above that halfway line sees the world basically as a place of love, and going all the way up to Jesus and just pure enlightenment. And then everybody below the line in various degradations, but they see the world basically as a place of oppression. And so what the quiz does, it says choose these 3 life phrases that most closely fit how you feel about your life. And you just choose 1, 2, and 3 out of the 17, and then it rolls it up into an algorithm. And then it gives you what it says, okay, you, Maria, you're at level 13. And 13 is love, and love means this. And most people who take it, when they read what it means, they said, yeah, that's pretty much how my life is. And the idea with the quiz is, if you're not at the level that you want to be, then let's do some happy living things to advance you, and take the quiz a month later and see if you're feeling better about your life. Take the quiz later. So it's kind of like a measuring stick.
Love it. I'll take it. Okay. I'm excited to take it. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for joining us. It was an awesome conversation. You're very upbeat, a lot of energy, so I like that a lot. So thank you for joining the Flawless Growth Podcast.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, and very nice to meet you, Maria.
Very nice to meet you, Matt.